Good morning. I am Dana Lanes between Mine Production Services, LTE, Panama. Standing on the existing protocols, good morning everybody. My name is Barry Nani, Manager Programs, LTE, Yerewa.
Don't put the microphone so close to your mouth because it's very small.
Ladies, standing on the existing protocol. Good morning, everybody. My name is Aini Asuko.
Good morning, all. Good morning, corporate call, fully observed. My name is Rosemary Ayere, Principal Admin Officer, NTA, you.
The Zonal Director, our able GMs, and all other senior colleagues present. My name is Engineer Zonal, Chief Engineer NTA.
Good morning all. Still standing on the existing protocol. My name is Ujeme Edes, Chief Engineer NTOU.
Standing on the existing protocol, my name is Lisa Uno, Assistant Technical Officer, NTA.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leo Assistant Chief Accountant, NTA.
Good morning, this is Secretary and Representative Staff. The present my name is Recording Assistant Manager Programs.
Standing on the existing protocol, good morning, everybody. My name is After Officer Udo, Assistant Manager, NTA.
Good morning, everybody. Standing on the existing protocol, my name is Bob Idiomo, Chief Accountant, NTOU.
Good morning, everybody. Standing on the existing protocol, my name is Victoria On, Principal Admin Officer, representing the Admin Manager, Mrs. Christina Ekubo, NTA.
Good morning, Zeki, ADs, and GMs and other HA staff here present. My name is Samuel Emepa, Chief Accountant.
Which station is
Yes. Let me start out with the protocol. My name is Ikobo Jiwa.
Good morning, everyone. Standing on the existing protocol, my name is Ekaidi Jones, Assistant Manager Programs.
Good morning, all the company execs and Assistant Managers and Current Affairs, NTA.
Good morning, all. I need to maintain the already established protocol. My name is Jumo Basis, Assistant Manager and Current Affairs in Theory.
Good morning. My name is Linus Indes, your principal technical officer, NTU.
My name is Nta Port-Harcourt, senior engineer NTU.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nta, principal production officer.
That's all for the introduction.
Good morning, Zonal Director, General Managers present here. My name is Koila, Production Officer.
The Zonal Director, having concluded the introductions of participants drawn from all stations under your purview, I'd like to go to the next item on the program. So, before we call on the General Manager of NTU to set the tone and tell us what we're here for, and why we're all gathered here, I'd like to intimate us that the theme of this event is captured in your program, and it's about leadership and evolving trends in management. And we have here an erudite scholar who will be here in a while. He was here not earlier and took permission to leave because he was too early to be here in the morning. And so he'll be here in a moment. And the person of the head of department of the Public Administration, University of New, Professor Chijoke, that's in Onwa, will be here in a moment. So please, I'd like for you to please pay your attention to why you're here. Before you have your books and your materials, so please take notes, because like I said earlier on, we're branding NTA. We're looking forward to the next set of leadership in NTA. So you're all privileged, just like as I am, privileged to be here. But before I call on the GM, I'd like to also introduce myself. I'm the moderator of this event, and my name is Oku Ifeyon, just like David was. Thank you for clapping for me. You know, encouraged me. Honorary Vice, clap for me.
Thank you, my school. Thank you, my school.
Okay, to set the tone, I want to quickly welcome the General Manager of NTU, Mrs. Alice Ube, our host, to set the stage. Thank you.
NTA Port-Harcourt Network Center, the General Manager NTA Calabar, the General Manager NTA Bayelsa, ably represented, Assistant Directors here present, and very senior management staff of NTA across the South Zone. Good morning to everybody. Oh, sorry, OICs, AKETs, and Abuja. Good morning to you, everybody. I want to very heartily welcome all of you to Uyo Akwa Ibom State, the new bride of Nigeria, because everybody's courting her. All the events in Nigeria now take place in Uyo. So that's why I'm saying the new bride. So we're all courting her. But it's a way we're courting us. Or is he responding to, responding to our toasting? That's, yeah. Our people are very friendly, they're very warm people, the food is good, and of course security is top notch, you can sleep and close your eyes. So, we are here in you again for the second NTA Port-Harcourt Zonal Center meeting. The first was in Calabar, but we didn't have all of this, everybody here. But as we move on, the meeting gets bigger and better. So you are here today, as expected of us by the authorities. continually rebrand our brand NTA. This meeting will help us to tell ourselves the truth. Tell us the way it is happening in all our stations. We have done window dressing all of this time, but it is time to say the way it really is. All of the hiccups we have, the ups and downs that we go through daily, to be able to give our viewers clean and clear pictures. All of the problems, all of the challenges, all of the gray areas that we have all been going through. This is time to tell ourselves the truth. And our zonal director is very capable, capacity setting. She's very able and willing, above all, to listen to all of our challenges and then take us to the next level, take us to Abuja, and say, please, how can you help these people? Uyo has its first shop challenge. Port-Harcourt has a lot. Calabar has a lot. Bayelsa, of course, has, and even Port-Harcourt has to. So, Zedi, madam, I hope you are hearing us. Please, take us as our children to Abuja and tell them that it is not well with us as they think it is. This gathering also will give us the opportunity to listen to one of the best in the industry. They speak to us on leadership and evolving trends in effective management. Professor Noah will speak to us today, and I'm sure you will all be you'll be much better for it after he finishes. And like I used to say, we'll be better versions of ourselves and be ready for the role of leadership, because after step aside, of course, we are going to step into our shoes. So we'll have Professor Noah here, he will speak to us, and get all your virus ready, you are recording materials ready so that you can listen to him, record what you need to record, and if need be, you can send us an email of his lecture for us today. So I urge all of us to sit back, relax, and then let's move NTA forward together. From here, we hope that NTA Bayelsa will be able to host us in the next meeting, like God's grace. So thank you, everybody.
Please, once again for our GM, the host GM of this station. Please put your hands together again for our GM. The Zonal Director, members of the high table, ladies and gentlemen, while we were talking, while the GM was setting the tone for this event, we had an erudite scholar walking, the perfect man for this job today, who will be giving the lecture, and the person at the head of the Department of Public Administration, University of Youth, Professor Chinjoke Omoha. So thank you. Thanks for coming. Yes. I just only welcoming you, sir. Sorry. Just put hands together for you, please. I just want to thank you. In a while, we'll be having the Zonal Director speak to us. And as the mother of the center, we're expecting great things from her. So I know she's loaded to tell us, but just to let you know that we're being streamed on our social media platforms, speak to you on NTA via social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube. And so the lecture will also be seen all around the world in real time. So, but I don't want you to look at your phones so you don't get distracted. Just send the link to people so that they can also watch wherever they are and see what's happening here in Uyo. Thank you very much. Without much ado, I want to quickly welcome the Zonal Director of Nta Port-Harcourt Center. And this is Stephen Wilson, PhD. Please put your hands together for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Let me continue to stand on the existing protocol. Okay, to break. All of us have to stand on the existing protocol for a long time. I'm pleased to welcome you all to our second Zonal meeting of the year. It's great to see all of our general managers, state capital stations, and officers in charge of community stations gathered here today. The last meeting were not complete, but I'm happy that all of us are represented here today. And our race on top as the Zonal Center. As we all know, teamwork and synergy are crucial to the success of our organization. Without collaboration and cooperation among all of our team members, we will not be able to achieve our goals and objectives. It's important for us to work together towards a common vision and support each other to succeed. I urge all of you to continue to communicate effectively, share ideas, and work together to overcome any challenges that may arise. By working as a cohesive team, we can achieve great things and make a positive impact in the media industry. What I do with it can build, negative leadership can break, and we don't want negative leadership. And tomorrow you are all the future of NTA. If NTA is going to run, if NTA is going to fly, it depends on all of us sitting down here. We need a paradigm shift. We need to change our mindset. We can't continue to do the same thing the same way and expect a different answer. It's only a fool that does that. If you do the same thing the same way and expect a different answer, you're a fool. You must change something. What don't you like? That's what you're called to change. Do you like the way you're dressed? Do you like the way people talk to you? Today, our intention is all of us seated here. We're going to unlearn, we're going to learn, and we're going to relearn. The average NTA person believes that this is how we do it. This is how we've been doing it. Sometimes you ask for a paper, and in the paper you ask the person, how did you get to this? That is how they did it before. And it's not like that. It can't continue like that. I recall the story the GOC 6th Division told us when we were in concert visit. He said there was a particular chair that was seated beside the painted table, and the chair had been there for a long time. Every time there's always a guard standing there to guard that chair. So he asked, what is happening here? See, yes, from generation to generation, every GOC that comes in takes in and continues, there's always a guard sent there. Even the guard that is sent there doesn't know why he's sent there. The person sending the guard doesn't know why he's sending the guard there. It continued like that. So one person came and he was curious and he said, why are we always guarding this chair? He said, look at that. When did it happen? He said it was a particular man. So he called the man and asked the man, why are they guarding that chair? The man said, that chair hasn't dried yet. What happened was, a particular time they painted the chair and they didn't want people to step on it, so they told them somebody to guard it until the chair dried up. So a lot of people have come and gone. Somebody always comes there to guard that chair. But that chair has dried a long time ago, how many years ago, but people were still guarding it. That's because you don't ask questions. As it was in the beginning, it's now never shall be above without end. But that's not how it's going to be. Let us use this meeting as an opportunity to strengthen our relationships, align our strategies, and enforce our commitment to working together towards our shared goals. Now we have a particular responsibility given to us. The DG has said they want to have a zonal program synergy. Now, as a zone, besides programs you do at NTA Calabar, NTA Yenegoa, NTA Uyo, NTA Port-Harcourt, they want us to come together and represent the zone that we represent. Now, what is particular about, what's peculiar to our zone? Whatever is peculiar to our zone is what we have to represent, and it's a competition among all the zones in Nigeria. Definitely we can't afford to come last. We can't have beautiful people, very, very talented people here who come last. No. We must take our space and we must stand our time. And that's what we're going to, part of what we're going to do today. We're going to agree. There's a platform already existing that has the best hands. So if you're here today and you're in that platform, it's because you're selected as one of the best hands. Because we know you have enough to bring fair. We're sitting together today at the Zonal because tomorrow it might just fall on you. How ready are you? If you're ready to be a Zonal director, ready to be a general manager, ready to take NTA to the next level, this lecture today will prepare you more. But first of all, you must make up your mind to know that it cannot continue the way it's always been. We must change the narrative. And so we want to thank you all for your hard work and dedication. The average NTA person is extremely hardworking. You will agree with me that we are very hardworking. We don't look at our pay. What drives NTA is passion. The average NTA person is a passionate worker. If we look at our salary, probably we may not be as dedicated as we are, but we are very dedicated and we're very hardworking people. So we look forward to seeing the positive outcomes that we can achieve through our teamwork and our synergy. Let's make this productive and successful. Once again, I want to welcome you. Thank you very much.
Let's put your hands together and give it for the Zonal Director, Nta Port-Harcourt Network Center. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will go to the very essence or the nucleus of this event, which is this meeting. And the theme of this meeting is leadership and evolving trends in effective management. And like I said earlier, I introduced our lecturer who is in the house, and I think he's ready now to deliver to us what we need to hear. So please pay rapt attention. You have your notepad with you, the virus with you. Take note and let's move NTA to a very greater level. Without much ado, I want to quickly welcome to the podium the guest lecturer of today's meeting, the HOD of the Department of Public Administration, University of Uyo, Nigeria. It's my pleasure to welcome Professor Chijoke Basil Onoha to the meeting.
Let me again stand on that existing protocol. Even if I'm fat, I will not break again. This is a very important topic, leadership and evolving trends in effective management. Some leaders, some authorities have said that leadership is the pivot point, the nucleus, and the justification of every activity. It begins in business, and thereafter it perpetuates. Let me begin with Professor Claude. Claude in 1987, a keynote address, Strategies for National Development, was it that the problem of Nigeria is a problem of leadership. That Nigerian leaders behave like drunken madmen that saw 3 roads and want to follow them simultaneously. Easy, thinking that he can walk through the 3 roads at the same time. If you listen also to Chinua Achebe in his work, The Problem with Nigeria, Chinua Achebe believes that the problem with Nigeria is the problem of leadership. That Nigeria has no problem, the air, the water, and the sea. That we do not have problem whatsoever, apart from the leadership trajectory. And the question is, now that we have seen this, how do we make progress? The challenges in Nigeria, characteristics of effective leadership, because we will look at the characteristics of effective leadership. Key characteristics of effective leadership. engaging different sectors of society, youth, women, rural communities in policy making to ensure shared responsibility and ownership. Competence and capacity. Leadership requires the right knowledge, skills, and attitude to change state of affairs effectively. Now, I want us to look at the challenges of leadership in Nigeria. One of these is that, because of the composition of the Nigerian state, some people, you have functional role and societal role. The functional role is a role that is set aside for the office you occupy. If you occupy the role of a general manager, or occupy the role of a state governor, occupy the role of a commissioner, whatever, there's a functional role expected of you in that office. But the challenges here in Nigeria is that you do also have some societal role to play. Those societal roles tend to be the major problem of Nigerian leadership trajectory. By functional role, I mean a role ascribed to that office you occupy. The societal role is the role, the expectation of the society on you as somebody from the area. So these have been the major problems that we do have in the leadership trajectory of the Nigerian state. Now, ordinarily, one will ask, how do we change this system? What do we do? One of the things you should do, number one, is to make sure that the office you occupy is different from the expectation of the people from your area. If the expectation is that as a professor in the university, your people are expecting you to recruit or employ people, that's not your role. Your role is to go to the class and teach. You are not the admission officer. You are not the registrar. You don't do any other administrative work other than to concentrate on your function. The functional role of a professor is to teach, to research, to make publications. But here we discover that that's not what happens. So many people are going out of their areas. This is what you are supposed to do, but you're not doing it. If we want to talk about the issues in resource management, key issues in resource management is allocation of funds in budget and capital projects, investments and corruption, in procurement and contract awards, poor planning and implementation of development programs, over-dependence on oil at the expense of other things. For example, the excess crude oil account meant to stabilize the economy during oil price shocks has often been depleted without accountability. Sincerely, poorly managed infrastructural projects have led to abandoned sites and wasted funds. Now, let us look at the interplay between leadership and resource management. There is a direct relationship between leadership, quality, and how resources are managed. Visionary leaders are more likely to invest in sustainable infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Accountable leaders put in place mechanisms for monitoring, evaluation, and feedback. Ethical leaders resist corruption and ensure that public resources serve public needs. In contrast, when leadership mean go ahead by establishing that Nigeria's greatest challenge is not lack of resources, but the abundance, not the absence of lack of the Nigerian greatest challenge is not lack of resources, but the absence of visionary and ethical leadership to manage them effectively. Development is not automatic. It is driven by decision, discipline, and direction. With the right leaders and responsible resource management, Nigeria can overcome the obstacles that is rightful place among the world nations. Let me conclude by saying that to move Nigeria forward, Nigeria must enhance both effective leadership and abundant resources and resource management through the following actions. 1. Policy and institutional reforms. Strengthen the agricultural policy and program. America, USA uses less than 1% of their factors of production, and yet it is said that America has the consumerist economy, the total economy, just with less than 1%. Britain uses between 2 and 5% of their factors of production, and yet Britain can produce what is enough for them. But Nigeria is using over 60%. It is necessary that the leadership trajectory, leadership style, must have accounted for this deficit. And poverty seems to be the major cause of all the havoc that we have experienced in this country. We must introduce leadership and ethics education in schools and public service. We must encourage youth inclusion in merit-based appointments. Then resource governance. Adopt performance-based budgeting and zero-based budgeting strategies. Enhance transparency through governance and open data portals. Civic engagement. Citizens should help responsible and accountable through voting, advocacy, and community participation. Strengthen civil society and media to promote transparency and watchdog functions. If we do this, it is possible that Nigeria will move from the least ladder to the top of the ladder. I so submit. Thank you.
It's not checking the audio very low. And you have to check the audio very low. Thank you very much, sir. Is there a round of applause again for our president? He has spoken well about effective leadership in Nigeria and the things we need to know. And I guess some of the things we've written out are some things we have outlined as people and as people who are occupying leadership positions in NTA. Talk about enhancing transparency through governance and need for policy institutional reforms. So, as leaders, we have all heard that in our own little ways, we can also embrace policies for institutional reforms wherever we are and ensure that we step up our game. Talk about the leadership and the visionary leaders, and ethical leaders. So we should be visionary as leaders and ethical in our workplaces. means that when leadership is weak and corrupt, abundant resources will not lead to development. So we should know that if there are resources in our places of our workspaces, equitable distribution of those resources will bring about the even development that we need in our various stations. So I want to thank our speaker for this. He made one mention before I go, just a little wrap. He said development is not automatic. So people have to work development out. It is driven by discipline, hard work, and prompt placement of resources. I want to quickly, once again, please, a round of applause for our speaker. Please, the floor is open for interactions, questions before we let him leave. So please, before we do that, but in a while, we'll go for a tea break after this session. When we come back, we'll come back for a second session after the tea break. Before the tea break, the lecturer is in the house to ask questions and great areas that really pertain to our organization, which is the Nigerian Television Authority. And I think my zonal director is ready to start this session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, bro. Usually, when we come for this kind of training, I like to study it too. Yes, because while we're talking, I was trying to bring it back home. We're talking about Nigeria, and it kind of looked very focused for us. Because, like here, I'm thinking that we're looking at it. In fact, besides, we would even begin talking about the big NTA. For us, it's massive. We should be talking about our zone here. And from what you said, I got some little word I could take home. I heard about competence and capacity, right knowledge and skills to drive whatever position. You talked about the functional role and societal role. Functional role is a role that has tried to the office and what society is expecting from you. And I'm sure the average NTA person faces that. Because if you're a member of a church, you're a member of any family, because you're NTA, if somebody dies around there, there's an event, you naturally just expect you to come and provide coverage with happiness. They just tell you that, okay, the person don't die, so this is your NTA now, so you cover. And you just, sometimes see them come, somebody comes to meet the GMs and the director. 4 times in a year, my cousin don't die, my great-grandmother don't die, my pastor won't do birthdays. And when you say no, they see that wickedness. But I understand from my understanding of your institution today that the functional role is that you are an NTA staff and you pay your salary. Societal role is beyond what they are asking you to do. At the point they are telling you to come and do the obituary coverage, you tell them that they need to be paid for. Because the station needs every 10 kobo to run. And again, we also have this understanding in NTA that if anything happens to you, it is your immediate family, your father, your mother, your wife, your husband, your children. And then it begins to extend to your great-grandmother, to your great-grand-uncle. It becomes very bogus. So if we understand that societal role is different from the functional role, it will also help us. It talks about competence. Each of us, we are leaders in our various categories. Your supervisors in whatever category you're in, what competence are you bringing to bear in that category you're in? If you're a production assistant, are you supposed to do the duty of a production assistant? First of all, I think you should then ask your producer, what is my role? And if they tell you your role, you begin to now work on the role. The reporter that came here today is supposed to cover this event. He decides to leave it and try to concentrate on the duty of the company. Now there's an issue. Because you have left what you're supposed to do the job you're not supposed to do. You'll be very busy, but you're not getting anywhere. You'll be very busy, you might even be sweating. But you didn't do anything because you're not doing that. That's very effective and efficiency. So, sir, I want to ask everybody to please ask your questions as it relates to your role. I want us to bring this training back home. He has given us the basics of the training. let's ask questions to bring it back to our various responsibilities so that we can really understand the import of this training today. Once again, Prof, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you for this great privilege. I'd just like to ask, looking at an organization like ours, NTA, at what point can one say that leadership is effective? At what point can someone say that leadership is effective?
Thank you. Thank you. Let me say this. One of the take-homes or one of the things everybody must have in mind, is that the organization NTA has a goal. Has a goal. So, administration is organizational management towards the attainment of the goal of that organization. That goal, when it becomes effective, is when leadership becomes effective, is when collectively everybody has performed his function towards the attainment of the goal of that organization. The goal is fundamental because there must be a goal. If you enter NTA, you'll see the structure of authority expressed in the form of superior-subordinate relationship. And you must follow it to know that for each unit, these are the functions you must perform. The essence of this performance is towards the attainment of the goal. When an organization attains that goal, organizational goal, that's why in strategic management, people are now talking about target. You must achieve this target in order to get the goal of that organization attained. Immediately you attain the goal of the organization, your question is answered, which means there is effective leadership. Because who is a ruler, a leader? Just like in a question they ask, who is a manager? Almost everybody is a manager. In your respective, because you are a supervisor, there are people under you. You are a leader, you know, and you must know that. Because you are a leader, you must be able to thank you.
Any other question?
Yes.
Thank you very much, the Zonal Director, lecturer, our guest lecturer. Prof, thank you for that, for the message, for the lecture. Mine is more like a contribution. I wouldn't say it's a question, because if I want to make it a question, I wouldn't know where to start from and where to end. But I want to contribute to what you have said. Firstly, the Zonal Director had said something that she gave a scenario where people, you know, believe in something and they don't change their mindset about that thing. The lecture you have given us is something that should drive home to what we do practically in NTA. But you have given us a holistic, a structure, so to say. I think it behooves on us as NTA staff to come back to organization and apply that in a way that relates to how it will benefit our organization. You just get a holistic thing. And so if you ask me, I'll say leadership and evolving trends. I want to go to the evolving trends. What are the evolving trends that would affect NTA, you know, positively, bringing it down to our souls? What are those things NTA is still doing that are stereotypes that should be made away, and then we look into new ways of achieving it? I know the Zonal Director had said people say NTA don't exist, but we know arcade, yeah, that's the one. He said people think NTA is arcade, but we know we're not. So how do we erase that mentality
so that people come to accept NTA as not being archaic and see us in contemporary light. We have things to do. If we run back to, and if we come back home, we'll see that from the top to bottom, we have to start from somewhere. From our equipment, yeah, thank you. From our equipment, the management. You know, you will realize that every station have their peculiarity. You mustn't look like NTOU. You mustn't strive to be what NTOU. What is peculiar to your terrain? What can you do that is different? And if you're doing that, at the topmost management, they should be able to accept you, know your strengths, and allow you to operate that way. Together with collective efforts and achieving that, we can come to make sure that we do and we can bring NTA to a level where people would accept. I think that's just my little contribution. Thank you.
My name is Engineer Nicholas Israel, Assistant Director Engineering for Port-Harcourt. Yes, during your lecture, I took note into the fact that you said leadership failure. We are here, we have our duties, we have our responsibilities. Please now, what are the factors you put into considerations in order not to fall into that pit called leadership failure? Thank you.
Yes, leadership failure occurs when a leader fails to do what normally is supposed to do. And one of the things that contributes to leadership failure is faulty recruitment process. When you engage, you see, if you look at the Westminster model, the prescription of the Westminster model, recruitment, promotion, and demotion must be based on merit. And that's what we know that public sector organization in Nigeria has adopted. We have used it severally, and the result is the various successes we have recorded. I have always known NTA to be doing well. It may not be a new generation broadcasting house, but NTA has done very well in all ramifications. I must be sincere. The first day I met my friend immediately he mentioned that name. I said reporting. Because in those days he was even from that time when he was young. I've also listened. I've not just come as a teacher. I've also come to learn. The first three speakers has also impressed me positively. I've learned a lot from the GM. If you are a good leader, you must be a good listener. The zonal director has shown that she has walked from the ladder to go up to the top. You see, what makes you a leader is the ability to come impromptu, like this lecture. I confess to Oko that when he called me about 5 days ago for this, I forgot. It was this morning, 7 o'clock, that he called me to remind me. And I told him I would come. And I just rushed to my office to go and put together what I have presented. It won't happen like that another time. So I am telling you that if you are a leader, even in 1 second, your response rate will be good. So I'm also learning from all of you because I'm a good listener. There is failure in leadership when you are action and inaction. You know, public policy is whatever government chooses to do or not to do. And when you think that your inaction is because you you fail to do what you are supposed to do. No, it's a policy. You are making a statement. So people will count it for you. When it's bad, people will count it for you as failure on your part. Because public policy is whatever government or individual choose to do or not to do. When you choose to do or not to do, take an action or inaction, it's policy. So in as much as we're here, any action or inaction is attributed to you, consequently for good or for bad, positive or negative. So the failures are there, countable failures we have as a result of the bad leadership. I gave an example. I said, how come that Nigeria uses over 60% of our factors of production in the agric industry, and Nigeria cannot produce what is enough for her? But Britain uses 2 to 4% of all our factors of production. America uses less than 1%, and they have a consumerating economy, a total economy. So it's leadership failure on the part of the planners of the Nigerian economy. I listened to one man who was talking about productive economy. You know, somebody was making it popular. People talk so much about productive economy because it's only when you have productive economy that growth will take place. So I don't know if I answered that question. Thank you.
Once again, let me also stand on the existing protocol to make this may not be wisdom per se, because I just derived this from what you taught this morning. The difference between functional role of an office and the societal role of that same office. In NTA we have engineers, we have technologists, and we have technicians. We even have another force here that is artisans. And those who went to the university are aware of the training of an engineer, how everything is almost purely theory. Anybody who did engineering will understand what I'm talking about. And those who went to polytechnics have a different orientation. For them, everything is practical, practical, practical. That's what they do in the polytechnic. They don't talk much about theory. But if you go to the university as an engineer, before you come out, you would have known what is the theories behind how engineering things work. And by the time we come down to the organization, we are talking about NTA because we have to tune this down to how it affects us. I have personally observed that the expectation of many of our people in NTA is not what it should be most of the time. For instance, I did engineering. I remember when I worked with the NEPA in Lagos, they never allowed me for one day to climb a pole, even though I was eager to do that. And I said, no, I'm not just going to be content with knowing how to give somebody instruction, how to do it like this and all that. But they said, no, this is not your training. And another engineer that is related to one of us in this house also had the same experience. He is working presently in Saudi Arabia or something, somewhere there. And one day he left his area and went to this other thing, and unfortunately for him, he had injury. He couldn't even open up to tell the organization that I had injury because he went outside where he was supposed to work. So now I want to ask, with this understanding that people should be expected to perform their functional roles, because this is what the office is about, should it be also right To say that, for instance, if we're in the engineering department and a job has just occurred, this is what the engineer is supposed to do. This is what the technician is supposed to do. Is it proper to say that if the engineer did not do his own engineering and do the technician's own, that the engineer has failed? Or how should the engineer be judged?
Thank you, thank you. In the first instance, what we are talking about the functional role of the individual and the societal role of individuals. Your functional role is there, different from the societal role. But there is a complementary service that we have. People learn on the job. If you have a technician in an organization that tries to master the art through training, through learning, and I think in order to move the station forward, it's just like where the driver of an NTA, driver to the major state staff of the NTA, maybe the one that is coming to for news from his house, and the driver was sick or ill, any other person can drive that vehicle. And if there is any other person that is there who is not, I don't know the workings of the system, maybe the person that owns light, if I'm there, I would think that anybody can go and do it because NTA programs are timely observed, so you must follow it. But what I was, my explanation was that the functional role is the role. For instance, you are a secretary in NTA, or you are an engineering staff in NTA, and your job as engineering staff is to make sure that all the machines are working perfectly well. Your job is not for somebody in your village to think that as a director in NTA in a engineering unit, how many people have you employed? Because they will ask you that kind of question in your society. How many people have you employed? It's only you. NTA is a good organization, they are paid well. You have worked there over years and you have built a house in the village. You just want to be the man stand alone. People will ask you that. We are saying that is a societal role. It's not your role. You should ignore such people because the heterogeneous Nigerian state is part of that problem. People think that when you are there, this is your time to do this. People ask us as a professor, people still ask in the village, say you are there, you put your children, you do this, you do this. And they come with request. The request they come with, the person has 3 credits. And you want admission in the university. You know? And if you don't know it, the next day people begin to talk that you and the university, you have trained your family members, 20 of them, but this man, the son of a poor man, who has come, only one person, only one request they ask you, you fail to do it. You should ignore such. You should ignore that because it can never contribute to the growth of my organization, the university. And it will not do anything to uplift the standard of NTA. When you begin to scramble, leaving your functional role to go and perform the non-functional role. So that's what we're saying. But complementary role is what you are asking me. I'm saying that staff can play complementary role. If the generator is not working and we have a generator person whose role is to own the generator, start the generator, and when that person is not there, anybody who can do it should be able to go there. Thereafter, the management decision will apply to that staff that has failed to do his work. Yes. But the station must move forward. Yes. Yes. The station must move forward. Different from that. I think that's my understanding. This one is different from this. This one is playing a complementary role. The next one is societal role, and this which is not, you are not supposed to be part of it. Forget about the criticisms, and then one does. What is important is the ability to perform the role that will lead towards the attainment of the goal of the organization. The goal is that by 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that the thing is showing. Whoever that facilitated that is not important. Anybody can play a role other than the assigned role, other than the assigned function in that office. We call it complementary. It's different from a societal role. The societal role is going out of the schedule, not only the schedule, but out of the functional role. Because the functional role for the establishment, the functional role for that establishment is that role ascribed to you. You can do complementary. But what we are against is you performing the societal role. The societal role will not lead to the growth and development of that organization. Societal role in NTA will not lead in any way to the growth and development of NTA. It's just a request by society, what the society expects you to do. Thank you.
Can I contribute to that? There's something I don't know if I heard you when you said if you're going to be punished for not doing your own and doing the other one. If I heard that right, yes, you're going to be punished. Because you are failing your primary responsibility. The reporter came here today. You can film and there's no cameraman. You can do the duty of the cameraman and do the duty of the reporter.
Multitasking.
That's multitasking because NTA has said what to fall against officers. But if by the time she comes here, she does the duty of the cameraman and gives the duty of the reporter, she'll be punished. If you do the duty of an technician and leave your schedule as an engineer and you fail, you will be punished. Unless the duty of the technician swallows up your duty as an engineer and it's not going to affect anything, then you can go scot-free. You can't tell me that we sent you to do something. You're a generator and you're supposed to turn on you're supposed to start the schedule for that day, the transmission for that day. But because you're not, the generator man is not there, you went to turn on the generator, you now forgot to start transmission. Because you're going to do the duty of the generator, you'll be punished. Complementary is doing something to add up to what you are supposed to do. Not leaving what you're supposed to do the duty of another person. That's not complementary. At that point, you are leaving it and going to another level. So I think that the average person knows that we've taught us to be four-legged people. That's why you can see somebody who is a marketing person reading news. You can see somebody who is a marketing person producing programs. It doesn't stop you from, at the end of doing such a beautiful program, we still ask you how much did you make at the end of the year, because your primary responsibility is to make money. And that is what we are going to judge you on. I remember when I was in the PR of Nta Port-Harcourt. There was one time my former assistant director of marketing and Tibola, said to me that when I go for a promotion interview, nobody is going to ask me questions as PRO. They are going to ask me questions ultimately as the marketing staff. And that I'm going to be promoted not as manager PRO or manager marketing. She said she wants me to understand that my primary responsibility in NTA was as marketing staff. So whatever I'm doing as PR is complementary. Probably the first you can do it and they gave it to you to do it. But that shouldn't swallow up your primary schedule. So if you say, if you enter the question with just helping the other thing to ensure that thing does not fail, I understand. But that point of that, if you don't now do your own and give the other person, you will be punished. Thank you, sir.
So I think it goes back to the society we talked about. For NTA as an organization, basically we're here to serve the public. It is basically we're here to serve the public.
Yes.
It is what we push out as the public appreciates and all of that. When you talk about societal roles, my mind took me back to our outfits. Should the society expect something from us beyond the examples I have mentioned? information, we have factual information and all of that. I don't know, are you limiting the societal roles to just the examples you are given? Shouldn't the society expect something from us being a public service organization?
Thank you, thank you. If maybe somebody sees you on the street and say, yes, now I want to find out this, because you are a member of the work with NTA, you should have a lot of information on this. And the person asks you. If it's an information that is not kept in the secret domain, and you are asked, and it will not affect the organization, you please go ahead and give such information, because it's something that out of your training. But that's not what we call, what I refer to as societal role. The societal role I mean is including the examples I've given and any other. For instance, you are a staff of NTA, and somebody keep on asking you for a favor. Each time you go to your place, they say, you are working in NTA, and you are rising, but you don't have any replacement in that organization. That was also concerned. You don't need to bother yourself about having a replacement in NTA. NTA is a global organization that has its own recruitment process.
Yes.
The recruitment process must follow, must apply. One of the dictums we have in public administration is, show me the staff of the organization, I will tell you where the organization is going to. Yes. The process of recruitment is a very important and vital process that will help and lead to the growth and organization of the organization. The goal of that organization will not be left in the hands of people from your village. People who are, just like the example I gave you, you teach in the university, and then anytime somebody sees you, say, oh, you are teaching in the university and you are doing well. You don't want my son to teach in the university. So such questions I will ask you to go and meet the university yourself, not me. But I don't have a hand in the recruitment process, and the recruitment is a very important policy of the university. Attracting the best job candidates in an organization. That's what recruitment is. Recruitment means attracting the best job candidates to an organization. So I cannot attract using the standard the university has established. So there's somebody who asked me, for instance, NTA asked me to come and present a paper. I didn't tell anybody in the university. I didn't need to take permission, but I have come. This is a societal role. One part of my societal role is that as one who can give information based on my education, I am free to come and talk where I'm invited. Training programs, whatever, workshop, anything, I'm free on my own. I don't need to go and tell my university that I've been invited, should I go or should I not go? But people will ask me, you, for instance, you are a professor in the university, and in your community, how many people have you admitted in that university? Very simple. It's not my role. It's not within my role. Part of my function as a professor, teaching, research, and publication. If I have research on anything, and that people call me to come and share the information with them, I am at best willing and very eager to come. You see, that's part of the society. The negative society, maybe if you like, you can say the negative and positive and negative. So that's it. That's how far.
Sorry, you know that I'm talking too much.
No, ask the questions.
I think you should just lump it together.
Yes, I must go to court.
Okay.
If you have more questions, how many persons have more questions? 2 more questions. I think I have 1 more. 3, and then I think the last. So you quickly ask the questions and then we
Hello.
take it.
Mine,
1, 2, 3, 4, which one? 5.
yes, mine is not a question, but so I think the engineer that said something about the craftsman, the technologists, and the engineers. Well, these are one of the things you are advised to come to Korean assembly. This is well taught there. There is a difference between a craftsman, there's a difference between a technology, and there's a difference between an engineer. Yes, it is assumed that before you become an engineer, you must have enough knowledge of the job of a craftsman, a technologist, and an engineer. The fact that technologists are into practicals, engineers are not into practicals is wrong. Let me tell you why. When you get to 200 level, 300 level, 400 level, you are sent on an industrial training, IT, as an engineer. The exposure will enable you to know what they are doing there. You cannot go for an IT in an industry. You will not be doing the job of an engineer. Maybe, for instance, there is wiring you want to do. An engineer can tell you because he read engineering, he cannot wire, and he cannot do electrification, he cannot change socket. That engineer is not an engineer. Engineer, you are supposed to know everything apart from your major job. As an engineer, what is your job? We did engineering in the society, in the university. I think that's a 400 level course. So in this case, you will not know what to do as an engineer. They will not tell you your role and the role of others. Just like my amigo Zonal director said, I'm the head of department in Nta Port-Harcourt. For instance, I'm alone, and there's a socket that is bad. Will I not be so bold to tell Zonal director that because other engineers are not there, I will not be able to change that socket? No, because if I say it or fail to come from them, I will be punished. But where they are available, you assign them to go and do it. Remember, you are also a supervisor. While they are doing it, you are seeing it. And if they get it wrong, you also tell them. You understand? If you don't know, how can you tell them? How can you correct anybody? That is why there is a difference between an engineer and a technologist. Thank you.
My question actually, I would like to address the Zonal director. Since he's the most senior and the most knowledgeable among us here as far as the organization is concerned. As a senior staff of the organization, we are very much aware of our corporate social responsibilities. Our corporate social responsibilities to the society. Yes. So, my question is, would you consider these social responsibilities as part of our social responsibilities?
Yes, please go on. Okay, hold on. So, hang on. Let OIC first ask the question. We could just answer the two together before we come to that one. Sorry.
Distinguished Zonal director and most esteemed general managers, assistant directors, others here present. Mine is a kind of a commendation for the team who put up this training, especially the topic leadership and evolving training in management. We have seen, and I'm also pleased with the prof who have also affirmed that NTA has been doing well. It's a franchise that most people in this country can speak about because we have a track record. You can't break any news without going to NTA. NTA will give you the right news. Others might bring in other things with sentiments to bring in eyeballs to them. The NTA will give you the truth. One evolving trend in NTA in leadership management I've seen is PMS, that's personnel management scheme. I don't know if I've gotten it right. PMS system. PMS, yes. Performance management system. So immediately the head of service brought up this policy among MDS in Nigeria. Nigerian Television Authority was the first to implement it. That was July 2024. And it has been so effective in improving our performance as workers in NTA in terms of evaluation of what we are putting in, yes, and also the commendation and good remarks from our supervisors. And behold, NT also brought up a policy. The prof spoke about effective leadership recruitment. That leadership recruitment is very important. If you look at the people you recruit into an organization, you can tell the future of that organization. The immediate past promotional interview we saw an evolving trend, a good trend that the management of NTA brought in, so that everybody writing the promotion interview wrote it all at the same time through computer-based tests. And it was very eye-opening. In fact, I was impressed by it. And most of the people I interacted with who wrote it, when we went for the oral interview at Abuja, were also impressed, which means the trend is acceptable, is an improvement, which means NT is getting there. So I wish to commend management. I will talk management, even the Director General, the management team, and even our distinguished zonal directors, the general managers, for what they have contributed to the upgrade of NTA. And I believe better days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Two more questions later.
Like you said, of course, you know that this permanent thing now is change. Change is constant. Gradually, people are moving from paper. Even federal government said that by December, no more the civil service will become paperless. We started as, so right now in NT, we don't sign attendance, we clock in. You just go do your things, do your fingerprint, you clock in and you clock out. You don't have to sign paper because we're already doing paperless. So we're evolving. But that is not to say that is what we ought to be or ought to be. Neither is that, are we saying that that is when we are supposed to have started it. But I think it's better late than never. What the ADM Calabar asked is somebody asking you if you are not giving employment, that part of the corporate social responsibility. That was that issue. I don't understand what you mean by corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility is when there is an emergency, there is a fire incident, NTA calls attention to that part of the corporate social responsibility. The community where you're doing this, they are doing an event. That's your CSP, your CSR, sorry. At some point, if there's anything, sometimes if you're looking for junior staff, the ones within your power, what the prof is saying is like you can't employ. General manager NTA Calabar cannot employ anybody from level 2 into the civil service. He doesn't have such powers. He can employ a casual staff. Now there's a need for a casual staff in NTA Calabar. And then there are some people around the area that want you to employ them. That is a different responsibility. I don't think that's what Rob is talking about. Rob is talking about full employment. Like the man that wants to come in as a civil servant, because you know, because you are employed in NTA Calabar, does not mean you are going to remain in NTA Calabar. So which means the headquarters is aware of you. But if they are not aware of you, you stay there. The salary will never come. He doesn't have the power to influence what is put in the payroll. So that's part of what he's talking about. For me, I understand it as because he probably is not an NTA staff, it may not always be employment. Part of the societal rules I understand that all of us here understand because we are NTA staff is sometimes you belong to a church. You're in the church, and the church, the pastor says that somebody is getting married. And maybe they want to do mass wedding today. You see, you want to publicize it on television. You tell you, okay, you because you are NTA staff, come and cover it. This thing we don't do now is very good. Though. We should let the whole world know. Thank God, Rose is a member of the NTA staff. Rose, you cover it now. Rose is the marketing staff. Rose is not the general manager of NTA. Rose does not have the power to just come and say, okay, go and cover. That's a societal role because she is there. Because she's a member of that church, they just expect her to do it. Somebody had come to me because tell me that my pastor is doing 58th birthday, and I want him to say he should cover as his own contribution. I said, then you pay for it. Because if your pastor comes and will cover, and there is no diesel to transmit it, you still will have failed. So if you want to do it for your pastor, then you pay money. What I can do for you as head of the station will give you a discount. You should come asking me for a discount. And again, when you now know that when you go there, you're not just going to get it gratis, you be careful to promise such things. So I think my understanding of what he's talking about societal role here is those things that are beyond your capabilities, beyond your capacities. So don't promise them. The ones that society expects you to do because by virtue of the fact that you're a member of that organization, but you know you don't have the power to influence it. I guess that's what it means by societal role.
Yes.
So I'll let you finish what you let me not guess what you
The prophet, what add something to it?
Let me not guess what you
No, but that's the editor, that's the summary of that. Because even the office of the GM consists that provision for them to do at a certain level. But what I mean is, outside the confines of the office, for instance, outside the function of a professor, there is no provision for you to recruit anybody, but that's not within your. So, madam, she's very
Okay,
well.
the question then. And then the GM rep.
My name is Dr. Oichiro Department of Therapy. I want to also contribute with what Professor has said. Like we said before, organization work as a system. It's what we call system theory, where every department works simultaneously, interrelated and interconnected. It is believed that once one part is being affected, the general part is also being affected. For example, your human system, an electrical system, if something happens to one of your eyes, you can't see it very clearly. You feel the pain, as if it is applicable to the organization. And this situation is whenever you observe at the start of any organization that one place, one section is lacking behind, you can take on as a lacking function or responsibility to cover up that area, taking when the management will look into it. And when it comes to the issue of societal role, there is what we call corporate social responsibility, which every organization is expected to give back to society that goes there. In that situation, we are not expected to do it as an individual person, but we do it as an organization. If you are portrayed to be a managerial, that you can influence, use your power to convince and influence for such project to be security in that community. Or in the management institution, you can also plead for the management like a vice chancellor or the principal. Please, this is the most community. And we also need to treat them well, because if you don't treat them well, there's bound to be a conflict. And when there's conflict, that organization will not function very well. In fact, they can put fire in that organization, which will lead to chaos and conflict. So, in summary, work as a team, bring up the principles of inclusivity, whether as a top manager, work we go through at the top down cadre as a friend, as a colleague. Because there's some information you get, which you as a manager cannot get. Maybe based on the fact that you come in with this second, third, degree, they will work there for some time and do the things and carry on that organization. For you to survive, also need to liaise with them, treat them as human, and it will help you to grow, because it's all about collectivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I go to the representative of the GM of Nta, I want to quick question. How can societal roles or demands shape the policy direction of organizations, Nta being the picture? For instance, that's meeting current realities on ground. People ask you, is Nta still existing? Because there's a shift in the mindset of Nigerians today. And we cannot throw away the Gen Zs. We can't throw away those in the middle, between the Gen Zs and all of that. Or the mindset, what they want to see on television. So how can societal roles and demands shape an organization's policy direction to meet current realities, putting NTA in the picture? That's my question. And then the GM will ask one question and then we're done for the presentation.
For me?
No, yes, you answer, but the question of the GM has another question, so you can have two questions.
Okay.
The other question. Okay, your contribution. So,
Yes. Societal role will bring about the stability of the organization, because every organization poses to deficit. But negative societal role, which are non-functional, because the role of every staff of this organization will be any role you perform to enhance the place of NTA in the country. NTA is going to be the most vibrant of all television units. In fact, the beginning of everything about television programs in Nigeria. So anything you do in terms of societal role will be the positive performance of societal role. Somebody calls you and said, you are an NTA staff. Please come and help us and volunteer this information which should be in the domain of your organization. If you have those information, you should volunteer it. NTA can also play, what do you call it? The GM has mentioned that business social responsibility. Business social responsibility. If you want to call it societal role. Because the demand of the society is there. That there is a fire outbreak. That's a good example given by the GM. There's a fire outbreak somewhere around your place. You want to behave like that soldier. The soldier that said, the commander has not commanded us to shoot, and we are waiting. And they came and killed many people. NTA, the GM has said one thing that is very important. He said, the organization will go with their fire instruments, whatever, to make sure that that problem is solved, problem of fire. So it will bring about visibility because everybody will know that this organization is really helping the people around their community. See, very important. So there is every opportunity for you to showcase what you can do for the people around you in the name of business social, corporate social responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to talk about the area of complementary efforts. I know that, let me come from the angle of television as a whole. When we talk about television, we're talking about teamwork, and teamwork is television. In area of complementary efforts, I want to, from my own understanding, that complementary efforts of television is not just in a particular area of their interest. If you know something, I think you should say something. Like the professor earlier said, that you have knowledge in any aspect of your life. Maybe an engineering, programs, news, and finance admin, and you are not in poor area of production, but you have an idea. And I think that is where complementary effort comes in. If you have an idea, and I'm doing something, and you know your idea, you add it to mine, can make us have a better production at the end of it all. And therefore means from there we are going to achieve the state goal of the organization, which means we have to educate the public well, give the entertainment that is made and inform well. So complementary effort will come in when you know something, you say something, despite the environment you find yourself.
Thank you very much. Zonal Director, we're done with these questions. Yes. Zonal Director, the GM, here present, ladies and gentlemen. Late breakfast is being served, and can see that we're just putting bottles of water before you. First of all, we'll have a tea break now, right now, then we'll reconverge at 1:45 p.m. Looking at your time, 30 minutes from this tea break. So you start going to take your tea and interact. While you're doing that, quickly know that we will meet again for the second session of this all-important meeting. And to lead us into the tea break, we'll ask Zonal Director. All right? Okay, fine. So we'll just go. Sorry. We'll not touch on our guest lecturer. Please. Kitchen, please, close. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll do them very orderly, please. Just I'll call the rules out and then we just go. Please. We'll take from the inner circle here and then we'll go around. So the inner circle will take, so from the 80 PS, actually we'll just go and then take the line. I'll just do that. Thank you. Please. Enjoy Nicholas. 80 years. Thank you. What's on? Oh, I see a good job.